Bryant, some significant details are coming out now from federal investigators about the aftermath of this terrorist attack. And let me give you the headlines and then go through what detail I can share with you, which essentially is that they don't have any arrests yet. They still have no suspects in custody. They say that they believe that the people who carried out these attacks were, in fact, assisted and sheltered by people in the United States. But the biggest question, obviously, is are those people still here, and are they planning any additional attacks? Quite frankly, the authorities said this morning they don't know. They say that they are investigating the possibility, and we have to underline here possibility, that some other hijackings may have been aborted on Tuesday, that some aircraft, in fact, may have been targeted, but that those aircraft were taken to the ground after word was quickly spread through the system that, in fact, hijackings and crashes had occurred. They say they are dealing with some anecdotal evidence that suggests that, but they say they have no hard evidence that that is the case. And finally, the question as to how many people have been detained apparently has been overblown, too. The number, apparently, Bryant, is, quote, very small, and it's highly unlikely that any of these people are going to be traced directly back to the attacks. This is, however, a system that we're going to see unfold today, which is to say that I think we'll see more people detained today. I do not, however, get any impression that they expect any arrest today, Brian.
And again, you say that they're saying that a number of people assisted and sheltered those individuals. Do we have a number involved there, and whether or not those people were complicit in the attacks?
The best that I can report at this time on that is to knock down other reporting, and not knock down, but try to clarify, other reporting, which have placed that number at 10. I can't find any substance for the number 10.
As I've already demonstrated before on my film 6 on 77, the Dulles Airport 9/11 cover-up, that at 10:19 a.m., Ashcroft was asked by NBC's Matt Lauer if authorities had identified all hijackers that were involved.
Have you identified all the people you think who were actually on the plane involved in these plots?
Well, we do know the manifests for the planes. So we do know that we believe there were between 3 to 6 hijack-involved perpetrators. Those obviously have some parameters. 3 to 6 is not exactly an exact number.
Originally it stops here, but this is what he also said.
We don't want to scare people, Attorney General Ashcroft, but wouldn't it be safe to assume that there may have been others, perhaps even sitting on planes that never took off because of the ground hold or that were delayed, that there could be other people at large who were a part of this plot?
Well, that's one of the reasons that we want to emphasize prevention in what we do, as well as detection and understanding of what the facts were in regard to these acts of war against the United States. That's the reason that the Justice Department, together with the Treasury, are going to be devoting hundreds of marshals, customs agents, Immigration and Naturalization Service, Border Patrol type people to participate in the startup of air travel service, and to deploy these individuals in addition to the kinds of search and the more stringent requirements related to passengers on air service.
What's the difference going to be for traveling passengers when they try to board a plane, when they arrive at an airport? What do you want to see happen?
Well, there are a whole range of differences relating to the security of the airport property itself, relating to the procedures regarding airport employees, regarding the kinds of luggage that will be allowed on airplanes, regarding the existence of U.S. Marshals, other law enforcement officials in other settings to promote the security of the airplanes. The airplanes are undergoing very thorough searches since having ceased operations 2 days ago. So there's a whole range of undertakings designed to assure the public of the fact that the airlines are safe.
Just to paraphrase, what you're saying is we've now reached a point in this country based on this attack where we're going to be flying along with plainclothes armed guards on a lot of flights.
It's our intention to do what is necessary to make planes safe and to provide a reasonable understanding in the public that our planes are safe and that America is back to business.
And just a few minutes later, Secretary of Transportation Norman Mineta begins his second press conference after 9/11, announcing that airports could be reopened after lockdown following the attacks on the World Trade Center and Pentagon, outlining security requirements to be implemented, followed up with his remarks and answering questions to journalists.
Now I am pleased to announce some good news for travelers, for our economy, and for the restoration of America's freedom of mobility. Effective 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today, our national airspace system will reopen to commercial aviation. I must caution everyone that a system as diverse and complex as ours cannot be brought up instantly. And so we will be reopening airports and airlines will be resuming their flights since as they meet the new security measures that we are now imposing. And in these extraordinary times, we will be vigilant. Therefore, I have ordered a variety of security measures to be instituted at our nation's airports upon reopening to improve the security of our national aviation system. From this day forward, we are operating with tightened security. In the weeks and months ahead, we will do all that we can to ensure that the safety of the American aviation system is in place.
Mr. Secretary, some safety experts are saying that the United States is opening their airports too quickly, that some of the security measures are a quick fix and low-level security, and that we should be really looking at a long-term possibility of even federalizing security, arming pilots, training flight attendants with some kind of anti-terrorist combat. Is there any thoughts or any feelings, or have there been discussions on adding more security into the airlines and airports?
Well, I think the part of the question, the implication is the short-term, long-term. What we are trying to do right now is restore to normalcy as well as we can the ability to travel. The President had indicated on Tuesday that he wanted to return life in the United States as fast to what we knew before 8:50 a.m. on Tuesday. And so what we are trying to do is to get back into normalcy by allowing commercial airline travel. Yesterday we said we would allow those continuation flights or flights that were diverted to continue on to their final location. So we're trying to do things on a two-phase basis. If I were to characterize it, one to try to get up as soon as we can, and then the other to deal with some of these other issues on a longer-term basis.
The next question on hindsight towards Mineta becomes rather rewarding, given the verified information of when the FAA decided to place the no-fly ban, which prevented additional flights being targeted for hijackings, as we currently know with the example of Flight 23 at JFK Airport.
Let me take
Secretary, yes, as you receive reports on what happened Tuesday, is there anything that you've seen that you wish the people of this department had done differently?
Oh, you know, I suppose those kinds of what-ifs and could-haves and should-haves, I really don't want to get into that. We've got 47,000 employees in the FAA who on Tuesday, in terms of especially the air traffic control element of it, just performed superbly. You know, when that first plane went down at 8:50, and then 17 minutes later the second one went, and then 23 minutes later the third one we lost. One is an accident, two is a trend, three is a program. And when that third airplane went down is when I said to the FAA, shut it down. bring every airplane in the air to the ground. And at that point, we had over 2,100 airplanes in the air. And in less than 2 hours, we brought every one of those airplanes. The air traffic control system, air traffic controllers, brought those airplanes down safely in some airport. And so to me, are there things that could have been done differently? Sure, I suppose. There are things I wish I had done differently on Tuesday maybe, or Monday, or last month. Those I'd rather not get into.
It's one thing to make an accusation about Dick Cheney having changed protocols to NORAD, being an insider on the 9/11 operation, having made a stand-down order, but this film eliminates that accusation since the attacks were operationally launched at airports, where neither of these two administration officials in the emergency POC bunker had any effort or control to that. Basically, in what we know so far with the fifth plane at JFK Airport, Flight 23, and the potential for other targeted flights, this reaction revelation from Mineta should be an indicator in relief that the FAA superseded him, taking the proper action of grounding all aviation after the second plane struck the World Trade Center, rather than incompetently deciding so after the third plane struck the Pentagon. But now forward ahead, as airports have officially reopened,